Next up, we have a talk that I'm really looking forward to called Making the Complex Simple and Beautiful. This is the CEO and co-founder of AYTM, an expert in user interface and user experience. It's my pleasure to welcome Lev Mazin.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lev Mazin. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AYTM.com, Ask Your Target Market. And let's break some rules today. It's not a conference, after all. These are a few of our clients. And some of them have been with us for the past 4 or 5 years, like Hill Holidays, and some others recently joined, like MediaOcean. And you might have seen our joint research that we published on women in tech recently. But I look at all of them, and I see co-creators. I see inspiration that's coming from them. And I'll show you how in this presentation. So market research can be really scary and complicated at times. And no matter what degree you have, you might be a statistician, or you might be a data scientist, or social media expert, one part or another will be confusing and will be overwhelming. And this non-conference is a great example of what things are happening, that everything is shaking and moving in front of us. So a few weeks ago, I've been sitting at my home and writing this calligraphy, thinking about each one of you, and thinking about a metaphor that I could put in an image. I'm a graphic designer by education. That would incorporate all those beautiful complication of our industry, right? And I created this dragon, which I put on all of your bags. And I need your help. Can you raise your hands, those of you who think that it's a decent metaphor? Thank you. All right, and we ran it by a few of our great clients. And one of our clients said that, heck with that, I'm the research beast, not the industry. So any of you who would endorse that, who would align with, I'm the research beast? OK, I see a few brave hands. Excellent. So we empower our clients. And we do it by making things easier and making things beautiful. This is my wife, by the way, and a dog that we rented with a house in the Bay Area. Ask me at the cocktail party. There are a few trends that are very prominent and that we are using at AYTM. And I want to talk about them. So first trend is automation. And automation doesn't necessarily mean people losing jobs. I think that automation means that people will get new jobs, and we will have more time with our kids. And you can automate anything from data collection to pretty complex research experiments, as I will show. Visualization is the second trend that is very dear and close to me. And we went from getting insights from the data, and then this visualization just a great framework for getting great show and fun out of the insights. And augmentation, right? Survey data is just not enough. So augmenting survey data with additional sources of data, additional information, is very, very helpful, and I think mandatory at this age. So altogether, those things, I think they create magical experience. Let me walk you through the flow of the data that we have. Clients come to us with their own list. They use our panel. They write their surveys on the platform, and then they get the interactive report. If they have some troubles with do-it-yourself flow, we add AYTM experts who can do the job for them or help them out. In addition to just the panel sources, as I said, we have an amazing tool that we call Personality Radar, which augments that with very easy, very relevant data points from our panel. And client has a similar solution on their end. They have this powerful, huge big data sources that are very useful when you look at them in relationship to the survey data. And we can run it through Personality Radar as well. So let's talk about automation. Automating sample delivery is something that we started our company with. In fact, we were the first company to offer DIY online survey sampling with pricing that is available on the site. Today, you can go at our site. I'm amazed how few people, how few companies actually make it that transparent. So you can not only get the price and the time, but we guarantee the delivery by certain minute if you write and launch the survey in certain time. We offer 25 countries, 24 countries, 25 million of people. And I'm talking about it because it's possible. If you haven't automated your sample delivery, I think it's time, definitely. So this is our targeting page. Select country, select number of completes, go through psychographic targeting, demographic targeting, all that good stuff. And that brings you to survey creation dialog, to the survey editor. Interesting thing is that when we launched our company, we only had single choice, radio buttons, and open ends. That was it. And gradually, since then, we've been listening to our clients, and we've been adding new question types, not because we needed to have more question types, but because our clients said that this is the next big thing for them. They must have those additional question types because there's a business purpose for them. So today, we're launching a group of turnkey research tests, which are glorified question types, if you will. And I'll show you a few examples. So you have full flexibility of choosing and mixing and matching any question types that are designed by us. And we never accept surveys designed outside of our platform. We never show it to our respondents, so we control the experience, which is extremely important to me. I'll start with the grid. And I'm really happy that we just saw a presentation on the grid from Research Now. We definitely are thinking about it in the same way, because I don't know about you, but I'm allergic to this. I'm allergic to this to the point that for the 5 years, I didn't accept that this is a necessity. In fact, we don't have that domino effect because we didn't grow with this DNA. We didn't have grid from the beginning, and I didn't want to add it because it's terrible by typography. Longer lines create greater widths of the columns or more accents. The way we look at the composition of this thing is just not the way that you can get any interesting insights from it. So I think industry is still in denial, and it's great that we have these discussions. So not only it's 13 phrases, but it's 102 decisions that you're asking people to make here. Instead, we finally found a solution, which I'm happy to share you. You put your sub-questions, you put your answers, you can add images, you can add randomize the order, and open ends, and it produces this compact thing. By the way, we don't have optimized for web button. It's our concern, not yours. The survey will be optimized specifically and differently for smartphones, for iPads, for any device that will happen to be used by survey taker. If you need columns, you will have columns. If you need lines, you will have lines. But it's progressive. It actually was a great, brilliant idea, I think, by our lead developer, Evgeny, who said, OK, there are some good things about grid, but let's make it progressive. Let's make it easier. Let's make it step by step. So I recorded a little video to show you how it works. In fact, I believe that in our brains, neurons that contain the memories of fast food brands in this example, they are allocated somewhere close to each other. So when you ask a respondent to think about what they ordered at McDonald's, for example, it's much easier for them to think only about that vertical line or that horizontal line and select the answer that's applicable to them. And then they can move on. And then they can move up and change their questions. So by design, this will not break. By design, we limited the number of characters, number of items, and it works beautifully, and we tested heck out of it. The next question type is side-by-side, which is a common situation when companies, agencies, brands have a bunch of illustrations. They might be ads, like in this example, or they might be product renderings, and they ask to compare them, right? And it's OK to compare two things at a time, but when you have 7, or God forbid 15, it becomes really, really impossible to do on a mobile device unless you get creative. So we created this game-like interface, which shows two things at a time. And It's very easy on respondents. It's fun, actually. They just click on the one that they like better, and it goes up, the other one goes down, and the experiment actually continues until the system knows exact hierarchical logical order of all the moving parts in this. In this example, Subway won, and then closely followed by Wendy's and Taco Bell and other quick service restaurants. OK, that leads us to MaxDiff. And MaxDiff was a step up for us, because it's not a question type, right? It's a research methodology which companies built their entire business on. But we've been asked by a client, why can't we do MaxDiff with you? And well, we looked into it. And we created not only MaxDiff, we created advanced MaxDiff. I will show you how. For those of you who, I don't know if there are some people who don't know MaxDiff, but it's a similar problem. If you have 40 different taglines or 40 different names, it's impossible for our brains to process all that information and prioritize it. We can do 4, we can do 7 max, but it was important for our survival to be able to identify the winner, the best mate, the worst mate out of a group, but it wasn't critical for us to identify 40 different taglines. So our brains are not wired for it. And instead, this methodology comes really handy because it breaks things into quads. In our case, quads, and you ask to draw things up or down, and experiment shows with normalization of the data, with efficiency. And this efficiency is actually dynamic. It's not predetermined by a researcher in the beginning of experiment. It goes as survey progresses, as some people fall off. It maintains the optimal and maximum progression and efficiency of showing phrases. So in the end, we have our MaxDiff built right into the stats page. You don't have to wait on your statistician to get it back. And what's even better, you can apply different filters right on the platform. So if you forgot that there is a subset of your data that you wanted to see in the MaxDiff, you can crunch and slice and dice in any way, and the server will do the hard lifting and recalculating of the MaxDiff on the fly. Which brings us to visualization. And there is a story here. One of our great clients talked to me, and he said, well, we love using your platform. We love everything about it. And the only problem that stops us from doing more business with you is that you don't have MaxDiff, and we did that. And you don't have a perceptual mapping. Perceptual mapping was very important for them, and they spent millions of dollars elsewhere. So I was blunt enough. I didn't know much about perceptual mapping. I was blunt enough to ask him if he could help me with the formulas or methodology, how it's done. And he said, how do I know? I just pay money to that company, and I give them the data, and they send me the renderings. So we took the challenge. We hired right statisticians, right developers. We read all the literature there is about perceptual mapping. And we started with this, not our product, just started with understanding of what's standard, right? You probably saw this or similar chart in the past. I mean, to me as a graphic designer, this looks like fireworks. If you know the methodology, it is even more confusing, because what you see is actually a 2D projection of a multi-dimensional scale that we cannot comprehend, right? Computer can. And it stretches all the brands or all the entities and all the attributes and finds the locations of them, things that are similar. And we didn't quite like that idea. So we created, again, this is our survey editor. Very simply, you put your brands or your entities, you illustrate them, you put your list of attributes, and voila. The system does everything else. We show a series of questions. It could be star ratings or sliders. And in the end, we arrive to this picture where all the brands are, similar brands are together. The proximity of the dots between the brands is very important. The attributes are written on the lines, so it's easier to distinguish between them. And in this experiment, we saw that food healthiness and prices and convenience and location were the most important things for respondents that shaped the quick service industry. And brands found their locations on this map. Then you can add some interactivity. You can click on those things and see how brands did on different parameters. And then I was about ready to sign off on this feature when I received this chart from another brilliant statistician. And I thought, there's some geography going on here, and why not leverage it? So we went 3D. And it turned out that for us humans, it's so much easier to process things that have to do with landscape, with mountains and ranges and lakes. And that's what we did. We put the height, we illustrate, visualize any variable that you want with the height and the topography of the data. This works very well in 3D. In fact, you can spin it. You can turn it on auto spin. This makes a great presentation for your clients. But you can see that Subway was rated higher. That we're looking at overall rating among those quick service restaurants. Subway received highest ratings out of this group that in our research that we did on 1,500 people a week ago. And the flags are the tested attributes. Their position is very important. And the height is, as I said, representing the overall scores. So you might be thinking that I created this rendering for the show. But actually, the good news is that it's embedded in our stats page. So you can go from here to here. And you're in control. You can turn it around the way you want. You can find the nice angle and export it into PowerPoint, right? And then play with any mapping. We plot by entities by default, but you can switch to plotting by attributes. You can look at one brand. You can switch to any other brand or any group of brands. So this is total score for each attribute. This is how price looked like in this competitive landscape. And this is Wendy's. What are their problems and what their advantages? Burger King, and yada, yada, yada. All other good findings that can be extracted from it. So a lot of things in visualization can be embedded right into the web. It's fun and it's available. Technology is here. Augmentation is my last topic. I presented Personality Radar last year here. And look, this is so old, this past century. I mean, people who spend most of their working hours staring at those tables are still around us. And I really feel bad for them. Because the business purpose is very real, right? You got this nice pie chart, and you have no idea what behind those pizza slices. It's not visible usually from the survey perspective. So to dig deeper, we created Personality Radar. We wired all our nice, rich data about panelists to the survey completes. And we show it, each dot represents a house tag or our data point, and we show correlation. We cross-reference everything. We run statistical analysis on the back end, and we make it fun, exploratory tool for you to interact with. So this is how it looks. You see all the answers on the outer edge of the Personality Radar, and you can click on every item, and it turns out that Chick-fil-A loyal customers are more likely to listen to Christian radio, and those who are loyal to Subway are likely to like classical music. 95% confidence level, 99, you can change it. You can look at the top 20, top 10. You can drag around the labels and export precise point that you want to communicate to your clients. You can control the look and feel of it, filter. But what's more important, you can extract the personas. You can extract very easily, arrive to an overall understanding of who are more or less likely to use this brand. So Chick-fil-A, those younger females with 4 years degree, they're tech savvy, they're active in social media, and that's their portrait. And a very different group of people loyal to Subway, right? They watch PBS, CNN. Why it's important is because you would have greater chances with your advertisement if you place it in the right places. And if you know that there is crazy affinity for people who like dogs, You would put a dog in your ad. Taco Bell, younger people, gamers, PlayStation owners, etc. So that's Personality Radar and our approach to data augmentation. My key takeaways are simple. I think that it's time to automate everything that can be automated, and the rest, just focus your best people attention on things that cannot yet be automated. We still have some time until singularity for that. Respect and understand the classical methodologies, but don't stop there, right? Go beyond, create something new, and I think it will be just inevitable and wonderful building of the technology of tomorrow. And solve business problems for your clients, right? But don't be too serious. They are also our clients are, they just like us, they love fun, and they like to have some interesting things in their research daily experience. So that's it. Join us in celebration of Research Beasts, an inner dragon in yourself. And these are our contact informations. And if you're interested in a copy of the fast food report, you can QR code it, and there will be an email request that we'll be happy to send. It's an exclusive report that we prepared only for this conference. It will not be available anywhere else. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lev.